Effing your shit up. Sorry I'm a little late. No surprise there. If you know me, you've been here before, I'm always late. But today has just been a technical difficulty day from start to finish. Nothing seems to want to work right. Everything is being crappy. It's 7:40. Listen, you and your dogs. Have your dogs ever been late? Because I've been late. But yeah, no, so start to finish today has just been a technological disaster. We'll get into that a little bit more in a bit. Thank you to the two of you that hit the like button. Appreciate that. I didn't say 10 minutes past my bed. 10 minutes past your bedtime. I don't even think that my body will physically allow me to fall asleep before maybe 11 o'clock. Typically, though, 12 to 1, I fall asleep and I'm up at 5. I don't sleep very well at all. I'm looking at a gigantic poop in Voodoo Queen's cage. And those of you that follow me on Instagram know that I just cleaned Voodoo's cage literally less than 24 hours ago. But that is short tail life. Astra up here has been a shitting machine. 5 times in a month that snake has shit. But, you know, everybody wants to tell you that short tails hold it for like a year. Not that they can't, but a lot of mine seem to shit pretty regularly. Voodoo Queen, I know, just shit within the last 3 weeks for sure. I don't really keep track of that stuff. I am going to look and see. I'm starting to set up my collection on Husbandry Pro. Shout out to Kara for dealing with my bullshit as far as technology goes, because I could not figure out how to print. And for the record, in my defense, printing your fucking QR cards on that app is ridiculous. There's like 9 steps to get to where you can print. You got to set up this design. Then after you've set up the design for the card, you have to set up the card. Then you go and do all this stuff. Then you can print. You know, I just wanted to be like, print me the fucking QR code. Let me hit a button, and there it is. So whoever set up that app, you're obviously far more advanced in technology than I am, and you're flaunting it, and I don't appreciate that. So today, we had a Zoom meeting for the state of Connecticut to talk about some legislation that's going on here. I think overall the meeting went well. Unfortunately, I only got to catch bits and pieces of it because for whatever reason, I signed up for the Zoom meeting on the state of Connecticut website. You go on their website, you can see my name slated to speak 22nd. You know, they sent me the registration, the webinar code, and the passcode to get in. I got into the meeting at 10 o'clock. They started late. I started late. So I guess I have that in common with the state of Connecticut. So they started late, came on. Zoom meeting is going on for like a half an hour because the legislators had the first hour to just talk before they opened it up to all of us. All of a sudden, kicks me out of the Zoom meeting. Boom, gone. No big deal. Maybe I lost service or something. I made sure to shut the Wi-Fi off my phone at work because my Wi-Fi is garbage. So I try to get back in. It tells me that I'm not registered. I'm like, all right, maybe I typed something in wrong. I went into Zoom separately, typed in everything. Nope. I said, okay, let me go back, open the email, click on the link they sent me, go back in. Tells me not registered, not registered, no matter what I did. I deleted Zoom off my phone, reloaded Zoom, tried to go back in, not registered. So now I'm angry. There's profanity flying. I'm at the end of my technological know-how. I have signed in and out. I have deleted the app and got the app. That's all I know how to do. So, of course, I messaged Kara, and I freaked the fuck out for a while on the phone there, and she's very good at, you know, just keeping me focused and telling me to shut the fuck up, basically, and like, she can't help me in this situation because it's something to do with Zoom and my email address. And she told me basically, welcome to Zoom. And so then I emailed the lady who was in charge, and bless her heart, absolutely awesome. She reached out to me very quickly. Considering she was running the whole Zoom thing and doing all that. In the midst of this, she emailed me. She gave me her phone number. She said, call me. Let me help you. We'll figure out what's going on. She's like, I don't know what's going on. You are locked out. She goes, at some point, though, you know, somebody was in as Zoom user and not as this or whatever. So I said, we kicked them out because they weren't registered, which was probably me. And so now because I was kicked out or whatever, it blocked my email because my email's already registered. I can't get back in. So we were able to send it to my work email. I was able to get in that way and speak. And what I think happened is, you know, Zoom asked me if I wanted to sign into my account, and I did. And I think because I did, sign in. It didn't recognize me coming in as the guest that they had set me up as or whatever. I don't know. This is above my pay grade. But long story short, I did get a chance to speak. She was amazing. Very, very appreciative to her for taking the time to not only answer my call, help walk me through it, but text and check after to make sure everything was well. And then after I was done speaking, she sent me a text as well telling me that I did a good job with that. So very, very appreciative to her for that. It's nice to see once in a while there are people in our government system that actually do give a shit and actually do want to do their jobs. So I was very, very appreciative. Shout out for going above and beyond on that one. Much appreciated. So I did get a chance to speak, and I think that I did fairly well. I organized myself with some notes, so I wouldn't go too many like I normally do, just because, you know, the rate my brain's thinking, I have to slow it down to try to speak, and it just becomes difficult sometimes where I have so many thoughts going on. So I just gave myself some notes. And the reason I say I think the meeting went well is not because there was overwhelming support on our side of things. And for those that don't know, they're basically doing the same thing they've done all over the country now, where they're trying to ban any act traveling with animals. And the intent, according to what they say, is basically to stop elephants from getting abused and dragged around 365 days a year. But the language in this bill in particular is very ambiguous and basically says that anything that's not domesticated can be added to the list at any time. And that basically if you're going to do a program where animals are used, whether there's money involved or not, and they are traveling to the site, then that's basically illegal unless you have AZA accreditation or, you know, pre-approval from the DEEP, who they mentioned in this conference is severely understaffed and can't keep up with the workload they already have, but they're going to somehow be able to keep up with everybody that wants to do an educational program getting permission in advance. I just don't see how that's sound. And I mentioned that in the meeting that, you know, they are already understaffed, so why do we want to put more on their plate? I also mentioned that we need to focus on enforcement of existing laws instead of writing new ones. We already have cruelty laws in place. Let's use those. Let's enforce those laws better, and let's increase the fines for people that do actually abuse animals instead of going after people that are, you know, being decent and end up getting hammered because of this whole thing. Hey Jack. Hey web browser. Jack, yeah, I didn't even get to hear Adam. I didn't get to hear you speak. Obviously, you sent me the video of yours, so I got to see that. But I didn't get to see everybody's speech because of you know, me getting kicked out and taking so long to get through all that process. Serious question here, those extra tubs. How well do you think they will hold up with just a heat pad attached to a thermostat? I can't find shit for cages. So that's going to depend on the ambient in your house, and knowing you and how much of a little bitch you are with cold, your house is probably pretty warm. So that actually may work. Obviously, just make sure the thermostated and make sure that, you know, whatever surface you're resting on, they, you know, you're not going to start a fire basically. But, you know, I throw heat tape underneath these with a thermostat when the females are gravid and do it that way. Those shelves obviously are fine. I don't have a problem with it. But yeah, I mean, unless your house is like, you know, below 67, 66, you could probably get away with that, depending on how much heat tape you use, and you know, you got to calibrate it all and get it running. But it is doable, because I bet you're one of those MFers that your house is like 72 degrees and it's a fucking sweatshop. So I think you'll be all right. At least they gave time for public comment. Doesn't always happen. No, it didn't. We saw that in North Carolina, I believe it was, where they basically just said, pound sand, get out, and gave us about 12 minutes on that topic, and then went into 42 years of bears. And it's funny because all this legislation is everywhere. And so because I sit in these meetings and hear the other stuff that's going on, it's crazy how much is the same. There was a bunch of shit talking about bears in our meeting today. It was the same thing in North Carolina. So a lot of these states are following each other. And I noticed that too in the comments that the legislators that were speaking were saying today, is they're like, oh, well, what did other states do about this? What did this state do? So this is where it is so critical that everybody comes together for every single state, not just theirs, because they're all looking to each other. And, you know, one of the women that spoke also said the pulse of the nation wants this. And, you know, that's true in some capacity. And the frustrating thing is the far extremes of each side, from the people that want us to just do whatever we want to do and the people that want us to be super restricted. I think everybody agrees that we don't want to see elephants getting abused. So yes, I'm pro some sort of legislation that hammers on people when that happens, but I think shutting down all traveling animal acts is not the answer. The answer is when somebody is violating the animal cruelty laws that we have, you need to hammer on them. No more of this pay a fine, no more of this, you do 30 days in jail. Fucking hammer them, throw them away. And I know that goes in our tax dollars, but fuck that, man. I don't care. I'll happily pay to imprison anybody for abusing animals. No problem with that whatsoever. I'll spend that tax money there. They're already misappropriating how much other places we can misappropriate a little there. Your family does love you now. You don't realize it yet. You're going to find out soon. They're going to contact you soon. Miss Cleo will show you the way. Sorry you guys are all seeing my thumb. Start time lies always. I've been sick. I'm getting more sick, I think. That's why I'm so fucking tired. 7:30 sounds like bedtime. I hope you feel better. Evening, Joseph. Justin, I'm sure you go to bed at 8:30, but now you get to wake up with that baby. Evening, Mike. Thought my family would love me if I showed up. Turns out that was a lie, too. Yes, it is. Sean, welcome. You want that shirt? You should have been in Daytona, man. That's all I'm saying. Although I think it's a long commute for you. Can't even be on time to your own event. Story of my life, people. Let's grab some snakes out here. Why can't we just shoot animal abusers? $10 round, super humane. I'm with it. I have no problem with that at all. If you diddle kids, if you're a rapist, or if you abuse animals, slug. I don't even know if you deserve a slug. Chuck it, let them die slow. I don't care. There are certain things that I think universally all people agree on, unless you fall into the category of being a rapist, a kitty diddler, or an animal abuser. I think if you don't fall into those categories, then I think you're very comfortable with letting those people meet their end however it should come. Humane is for things that deserve to be killed humanely. Let's see. Let's pull out a special snake here. Hi, bud. I can't tell which end's what. So this snake's going to be leaving tomorrow. Going to be shipping out to the state of Illinois, off to see Mr. Rich Crowley. So I'm very excited to be sending him an animal. So if he happens to wander into this at some point, Rich, here is your boy. He's doing very well, looking great. He has not seemed to go into his second shed cycle as his sister finished. So he probably will shed fairly quickly with you after a meal or so. But this boy is very, very handsome. Getting some really nice coloration. Obviously, the lighting in here is going to wash him kind of yellow. He's not really that yellow in person. It's just kind of the way things work. So his head and neck is very, very pink and peach. And then he's more of a cream color going down his back that does fade into some yellowish tinge, but not quite what you're seeing there. Back in the caveman days, if a caveman had a very bad headache, what did he do about it? There were no aspirins to take. That's a very good question, because let me tell you what, I had a nasty headache last night, and I don't have any aspirin, Tylenol, or anything in my house. I generally don't take that stuff. Usually I do have it on hand just in case, but when I got COVID, I threw everything at that because I had it really bad. So I went through everything I had. But I found some NyQuil last night. It said headache on there, so I'm like, fuck it, I took it. And, it worked enough for me to fall asleep, and I didn't wake up with a headache. And the main reason I had a headache, I think, to begin with, is I didn't have a coffee yesterday. I usually have one per day. Just didn't feel like going into town and getting one, and I don't make coffee at my own house ever. So yeah, so this boy's headed off to Rich. So he'll go to work with me tomorrow. He'll be my work buddy. And then after work, he will get dropped off to be on his way to the FedEx hub local to Rich. So thank you again, Rich, if you happen to see this. Might have a little bit in store for you there too. That's free though, you don't have to pay extra for that. Maybe handling him will work that out for my morning time, but I don't know. Come on, you gotta go back in. So very, very excited to be sending him off to Rich, like I said. Been fortunate enough to, sell a couple snakes now to people that, inspired me on some level or taught me things. And so that's really cool to have that opportunity to have your animals be at a level where they want to add them to their collection. Ate some willow tree bark and create aspirin. Yeah, whatever works, man. That or you got those big hammers, just swing them and hit yourself in the head. Also, anybody who would like to, but especially my blood and short tail people that are in the community. I don't want to put anybody's business out there, not my style, but I am putting together some money to send to someone in the community right now that could use a little help. They're working very hard and just having some trouble. So I'm putting together some stuff. A few of you that I've talked to privately have already donated. I'm gonna donate some money myself as well. So if anybody's interested in kicking in a few dollars on PayPal, you can private message me either on Instagram or on Facebook for my PayPal for that. And this person was very reluctant to take help at all, so that's why I don't want to put any of it out there. But I basically strong-armed him into taking it because I've been there and I know what it's like. And obviously, I'm not doing great right now, but I'm doing enough where I can help a little and help collect from some other people and get him and his family a decent sum so that they can take a deep breath at least. Times are tough for everybody right now with everything going on around the world. So anything we can do to help. The Angolan python basically has the same head as a ball python, right? I would say pretty close. I haven't seen an Angolan in person in quite some time. But yeah, I would say pretty similar for sure. Can't believe you pooped again. You guys kill me. Spend my life cleaning up poop. Come here, sweetheart. I know you're already out once. You're like, what the hell? You did a nice thumbnail. Now people got to see you. So we had the T-positive 007 out there that's going to Rich. This is my holdback female T-positive Goldeneye, sibling to that fella. Same clutch. She's a little bit more high-strung than he is, so that's why I'm kind of handling her a little bit more carefully. She's gotten much, much better, but she's still weary, and now she's going to track my face a little. But look at that, just that meltiness, and just imagine when that all turns red in another year or two. She's just going to be an absolutely incredible animal. I don't know where you're climbing to. She's arboreal. But just, her sides are so dreamy to me. I can just stare at them all day long as you guys watch them go by. I mean, look at that. Just absolutely incredible. You can't really see it, but those dark outlines around the white there through here are all purple. She's just going to be a very, very exquisite animal. She already is now. But knowing that she's going to get redder and redder, very, very exciting. I think it was the very first python before the rest of the species. What's up, Pat? Don't forget to hit like, guys. 22 people in here, 11 likes. So if you don't like it, yell at me. Jason! Can't decide if you were the snake or sexy. I can say all day. It's definitely me. With this extra chin here and the extra chin behind that one. Thanks for making it, man. Sucks you had to bail today on the thing, but they took so much time for the legislator on that. It was like hours and hours before everybody got a chance to speak. Bullets have to be the least arboreal python. I know, but you'd be amazed how often they will look to go up in certain situations, and I'm like, what are you thinking? And you kind of have to be their protector because as intelligent as they are, they have really, really poor, I don't know what the word is, self-preservation, I guess, where they will literally flop and hurt themselves. They will reach for stuff that's clearly out of their league. They're a little crazy. Oh, you got to speak and then got kicked off. That happened to Jen, too. I thought you weren't going to be able to, given the times. I thought you had to duck out at 11, and I got kicked out for a while and had to jump through hoops to get back in. So I don't know what they had going on over there, but it's very strange that all of us that were of the same mindset seem to have problems with getting kicked out. So once again, you can see she's kind of yellowed out from this. I'm trying to hold her enough so you can see, but also so she doesn't feel like she's going to fall. Half the reps were talking on other calls during the meeting. Yeah, they were. And they mentioned that at the beginning, that was going to be going on, that they had multiple things going on. But it's so funny to me, if you're that busy in a legislative session, this is what you're focused on. A lot of this stuff is nonsense, and it's very frustrating that everyone got after speaking. Stan, the only one who got kicked off preemptively. Yeah, they tried to shut me down, but thanks to that one lady, had a lot of help. So yeah, you can see all that through there is where it's darker. Right there and around is all purple. So that's really cool, and that's something you really get with the T positive albinos that you can't get with the T negs. And it sucks that you guys can't see it truly purple. It looks kind of just like a blackish smudge, I guess, is the closest I could say looking on the screen, but it is super purple and super great. So very, very, this is probably one of, I call every snake my favorite, but one of my favorite snakes that I've hatched. And probably up there with favorite blood pythons, because I could look at her all day and just get lost looking at her. And that's kind of one of those things I tried to bring up in the meeting today too, is that, you know, we care about these animals. Just because I use these animals for educational programs, you know, I'm very careful in how I handle them. I'm very careful in what I do with them and where I take them and which animals I use. And I try to bring extra animals in case somebody's just not feeling it when it's time for them to come out. Because it's hard to simulate that environment of a crowd of kids reaching in and doing all these things around these animals. And the only way to know how they're going to react in that situation is to put them in that situation once you feel that they're confident enough with their relationship with you and comfortable enough at other places. So like, this is not an animal I would take to programs right now, and she may never be. She's come a long way. She's definitely, you can see, a lot more comfortable now than she was at the beginning, and much more comfortable than she was a month ago, a month before that, a month before that. And so that's what it is, just this little session of me holding her, talking, moving around, getting her used to everything, letting her feel comfortable, and putting her back. It just keeps reinforcing that this isn't such a bad thing. You don't have to force them to be handled. You don't have to do crazy things with them. It's just little tiny things over the course of time add up. They're smart animals. They figure it out. And they're all predisposed to whatever temperament and personality they're born with, so they're always going to default to that setting. So a super weary animal is always going to be weary in a situation where they're unsure. So the best we can do is just kind of build their confidence over time and always be aware that at any moment they could default to that if they get too nervous. Whereas a confident animal is usually going to stay confident same way. You know, they might have moments where they take themselves back for a second, but they're usually going to default and figure it out and get back to where they are. So we'll put her back, but she's just an incredible animal. And like I said, you can see how much more comfortable she is. There was no pullback, no hesitation. She's not nervous, me reaching for her and stuff. She can go up near my face. She's not striking at my face anymore. So it's all baby steps. All right, and she's close to moving up already. She's growing so fast. She's probably one of the fastest growing bloods or short tails that I've hatched. So it's been pretty amazing to watch. She hatched big too. So we discussed the meeting a little bit. Hold on, I just saw another comment flash by. Live chat. All right. Any updates on the American Competes Act? Any updates that are on that or on the USARK webpage right now? Things are kind of stagnant with that. The House approved their bill. The Senate's working on theirs. Their session, I believe, is starting shortly. So they will be running that through. Then those bills will merge. And then once those merge and the new, combination is formed, you have to see if that Lacey stuff's been redacted or it's still in there. So if it's been redacted, which is obviously the hope, then for the time being, we're good to go on that. If it's not redacted, then we really have to hope for the best and see what we can do to figure it out. So right now, keep emailing your senators over and over and over. Be a thorn in their side. Make sure they're aware that we do not want this to pass with those Lacey Act amendments. Be professional, be courteous, but let them know facts. They don't care about emotion. They don't care about, much of your personal experiences. They want facts. Why should this not be in there? If you need any guide on that, USARK has it all done for you. Local pride, I don't know where you're local to, but I'm with it. So it's all laid out for you. You really don't have to do anything. Like with this Connecticut thing, they made it super simple. If you were a Connecticut resident, you clicked the thing, it took you to this thing that was going to email everybody that needed to be emailed in Connecticut. You fill out a few things, bing, bang, boom, off you go. If you weren't Connecticut, it still listed everybody that was involved and that you could message, and then all you had to do was take their sample email, personalize it a little bit, bing, bang, boom, send it off. I mean, you guys that don't support USARK blow my mind because they literally make everything so easy. And not only that, but you wouldn't be aware of 99% of this legislation even being in these stages if it wasn't for USARK. When's the last time that you heard about this legislation that didn't start with USARK? Very, very few and far between. So it is very, very critical that you pay attention to that you sign up for the newsletter, so that you're getting those action alerts in your email. They've been much better about that stuff the last couple of years. There used to be a few hitches in that, but they've ironed that out. Those emails are flying. So make sure you do that. And $5 a month, $40 a year, if you're keeping one snake, one reptile, one animal of any kind, you're spending way more than that. It's a very low amount of money to have that membership number counted and make us look strong. And that is so, so critical. As great as it is that all these shows raise tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars and all these things, which they need, because it's very, very expensive fighting this legislation, especially with like the federal lawsuit, the amount of lawyers involved with that and the work hours and the amount per hour. You don't need to be a mathematician to know it is a lot of money, especially to battle the feds. So that was very costly, but that money matters, but the membership matters more. So the people that donate when they're shipping and do all this stuff and don't have an actual membership, that's great, that's helpful, but it's not enough. That actual membership, we need that number, we need that check mark on the sheet showing that you're an active member of USARK. So that way when Phil speaks and we go and we do these things, he can say this many people are with us and whatever, and show that. So please guys, if you haven't, do that. If you can't afford a membership, reach out to me. I myself will try to help you out if I can. If I can't, I'll try to find you somebody that maybe can. But I think pretty much all of us can find a way to afford $5 a month. Especially if you're having a daily coffee or a weekly whatever, or you're smoking a pack of cigarettes here. Like you can find that $5 and go without on something here or there. Appreciate that red line, Gary. So what do you think the hobby will look like in 5 or 10 years from now with everything going on? Honestly, Indonesian blood python. There you go. Okay. I honestly fear that the hobby as we know it will cease to exist by then. I don't think that's a pessimistic outlook, especially the rate legislation is flying right now and what we are losing and how rapidly. It's coming at us on all fronts, and people in general are just not taking an active enough role in the opposition of this stuff. Like here in Connecticut, I think the only reason that meeting went as well as it did is that both sides of the issue felt that the language was too ambiguous. So I'm hopeful that that is going to trigger them to pull that back from now and rework it and at least buy us some time. But the opposition, the people that want to shut down all these educational opportunities, were much, much louder than we were. And that's a concern. The one thing I can say is the reptile community here in Connecticut, a fair amount of us were involved, but not enough. There's some big names here that I did not see listed to speak, and that's shameful. And I was at work. I was working while I was on the Zoom meeting, so I was literally doing stuff at work. That's why I didn't have my camera on. I just did voice. But, there's no excuse. You are benefiting from this hobby. You are making your living this way. These animals are bringing joy into your life in some sense. And some of these people would rather sit back on the sidelines. And honestly, we don't need them in the hobby. We need warriors. We need people that are going to be out there, that are going to push the message. Jeremy, some people probably want to strangle him with the amount of times that he's screaming USARK and doing all this stuff. But you know what? That's the way to be right now. That's what we need, is that. We need you to get sick of it because we need you to do something about it. And when you start doing something about it and we start winning some of these battles, then we're not going to have to scream so much. But right now they know they can just roll us over, and they're going to keep rolling us over until we show them that we can be unified and that we can fight, and That means respecting, stop posting fucking feeding videos. Stop disrespecting small animal keepers, because you know what? We need them to fight for us. And they don't want to fight for us when we're making a mockery of, you know, their beloved pet's death for what? For entertainment? For fucking measuring your dick size? Like, there's no educational value in posting a live feeding video. Maybe there's 3 live feeding videos ever in the history of live feeding videos that had any educational value to them. And it's even worse that I see people posting these videos and they're laughing and making a big joke out of it, that this animal is struggling for its life and dying. And as an animal keeper, would you like to see the animals that you love struggling for their life and dying? No. Yes, it's a part of nature. Yes, it's what these animals have to eat. Some of these animals eat live, and that's the way it is. But there is zero reason to flaunt that. I don't care about this whole, oh, well, you know, people need to just get over themselves. Yes, people do need to get over themselves, but the reality is we are asking these people for their help, and spitting in their face does not make them want to do it. So that's why when it's a reptile issue, it's just us. We don't have the backing of all these other people because of the way we conduct ourselves, and we don't deserve it. And so until we start to act right, until we start to promote these animals in a positive light, doesn't mean you have to lie, doesn't mean you have to hide things. But, you know, if you get bit and you get torn up, why are you posting a picture of that on social media? Do you need attention that badly? That badly you need attention from people, oh, I got bit. No, you don't. Be a fucking adult. Be a fucking kid. A 12-year-old kid doesn't need to act like that. You don't need to act like that at 25, 35, 45, 55, whatever you are. So, sorry about the preaching, but, you know, I'm sick and tired of the fact that people acting like clowns are going to fuck my life over because they can't be responsible and they can't take the initiative. That's not fair. And the reality is the many suffer for the few in things like this, and we're always going to. So we have to, as a hobby, yes, we need to come together, but at some point there's some people that need to be lost along the way because they don't have the hobby's best interests in mind. They have their own selfish needs, and at that point, what good are you to us? Or what good are you to the animals, more importantly? I only have one. Oh, right. From baby until 1 year, 6 months, very happy with his development. They are very fun snakes. Politicians not knowing anything about the bills they're passing into law. Imagine my shock. Yeah, so that's one of the things I brought up as well, because one of the major concerns with this is that one of the bill sponsors was responding to people's emails and saying that they're wrong, that the language doesn't say what it says. And you are one of the people that sponsored this legislation and you don't even know what it says or don't understand how to interpret what you wrote or what you helped write. And that's a huge concern to me. And at that point, the question becomes, are you ignorant or are you purposely misleading people because you want to quiet the opposition? And unfortunately, I really have a feeling it's the latter, but I did bring that up in the meeting today, that I was very concerned as a constituent of this state that somebody in a legislative position was misleading people that were trying to respond in opposition to this. And I felt it was very important to make that point, because that's a problem. And, you know, it's one thing if they don't agree with your opinion or they're offering counter opinion, but the language is very clear in this. Well, it's clearly unclear, as one of the people said in the meeting, and was absolutely right. Where it's too wide open, it's too ambiguous. Where, yeah, they're intending on stopping you from traveling with elephants, but it's going to stop you from traveling with a hedgehog. It's going to stop you from traveling with a ferret, with a snake, with an iguana, with anything. Because the definitions are too wide open. And another thing that I made sure to bring up was the fact that the intent of a bill doesn't matter. What matters is the language, because the person who's going to enforce it, the DEP, the police officers, all these people, they don't know what your intent was when you wrote the law. They know what the law says. So all they can do is read what it says, and now it says, oh, you can't travel with an exotic animal. Boom, jail, whatever it is, fines, whatever the punishment is, seize your animals, you lose your animals, because they can only go by what's written, not what was intended. And so that's very important. So regardless of what these people think, like, oh, well, it's not our intent to stop educational programs, and we put a provision in there. It's like, yeah, you put a provision in there for AZA accreditation, which there's 3 people in the whole state, and they don't all travel around and do things. The Beardley Zoo, I believe Mystic Aquarium, and probably Norwalk Aquarium, I would imagine, is AZA, but I don't know. But I know there's 3. And so three people in the entire state that can do educational programs doesn't make sense. Happy with your YouTube channel. I'm a subscriber. Hope I can get your snake farm results. Awesome, thank you. We're not going to get into Brian. I'm going to keep this as positive as I can. Most property rentals are possible to own domestic animals, let alone reptiles. Yeah, and you know what? It's tough. And once again, the many suffer for the few because these people rent their homes out. And yeah, it's a rental property, but you know what? They worked their whole life to buy that piece of property. They have some sense of pride in it. And then these people come in and destroy it. And that's upsetting, you know? And unfortunately, a lot of animal keepers are not responsible. Their animals destroy the house. Their animals get out of caging. They lose them, repeatedly and do all this stuff and create eyesores and upset neighbors. And so once again, it comes back to we need to act like adults and we need to act right. We need to take responsibility and we need to be better because we are, the window into the souls of these animals. And so we need to think of it that way and we need to act right. When we don't, it only serves to hurt us. I have very minimal social media presence, just an Instagram, but just photos of the animals themselves. No feedings, maybe a tarantula pairing. Report those animal if I observe feeding videos. Yeah, I'm not huge onto reporting content. I don't know. Not judging anybody for doing it, but I don't know. I don't like getting involved in that and all that kind of stuff. I just wish people would be more responsible because the more you report it, then it's going to these social media platforms. Then they start to ban stuff, and I don't even want to get down that slippery slope right now. PETA's main goal is for there to be 0 animals in captivity, not even a fish or a dog. PETA alone beats our asses from a monetary standpoint. That's the problem, and that's what we need to attack as a community. Is you got to take out the legs from these organizations, HSUS, PETA. You need to spread the word and show people the money is right there. The financial report is there. A nonprofit has to show that. And those things are there. And you can go and see that less than 1% of their money is going to actually help any shelter animals. And yet people are leaving money to them in their wills or donating all this money because they have these commercials and they see these sad animals and they think they're helping. Always, if you want to donate money to animal rescue organizations, find somebody local that's doing good work. Put the money there. Stop sending money into these juggernauts that are fighting against you. You love your dog and you want to leave, a memoriam when your dog passes or you pass, and you're shooting other dog owners in the foot by giving money to those organizations. And I wish there was a way to get people to think critically and to pay attention to where they donate their money to. But we see it all the time in all different levels of all different charities and all these people that have, if you're seeing all these commercials on TV and these major commercials, that's telling you right now, right there, they are a juggernaut. They already don't need your money because they have millions to throw at advertising. If you're throwing millions at advertising, that's millions that's not going to helping animals. So obviously that's an issue. Your small-time local shelters aren't running commercials. They aren't doing all these things, but they stretch your dollar further. They do more good work. So just pay attention to that. Once again, I'm going to remind you guys, if you're here and haven't yet, to hit that like button. The ones with the large pixie frog eating something like a baby alligator simply for clicks, shock factor for people not in the hobby. Yeah, I can't stand that either. I honestly unfollow a lot of people on social media when they post that kind of stuff. I'm just not interested in seeing it. More and more states doing this now all the time now, government doing this all the time, more and more laws. PETA, I don't think we'll have a hobby. I don't either. It's very sad to think about, but it's just the way it's going. Unrelated to the current topic, but how are your pairings looking? So, Electra is doing what short tails love to do and being very, very confusing. She should be close to laying right now, but she's just going into shed. So this is another discussion I had with Kara like a week or so ago, maybe now, where the more that I do breed short tails, I feel like the less that I know. Because every year I have a female or two that just throws all the statistics out the window and does whatever the hell she wants. This year so far it's Electra. Callisto and my skunk line female also appeared to have ovulated. They should be going into shed cycles right about now. Other than that, so far, I've not seen a lot of activity. My female matrix Het T positive's in shed right now. I did not see an ovulation with her, but once she comes out of shed, I'll offer her food. If she's pounding food, then I'm going to assume that she hasn't gone yet. If she pulls off of food, then I'm almost certain she's gravid. She's never refused food before. So short tails sometimes will eat when gravid, but if you have eating machines that have been breeding and suddenly stop feeding, typically that's a pretty good sign something's going on with their body. Sumatran wise, I only saw that one lock. I haven't seen anything out of Morticia that suggested an ovulation. She's still eating last I checked. Same with Lilith. And the big T positive and the T positive 007, they were together a bunch of times. I never saw anything. The last time or two they were together, they were tail to tail a lot, and they were kind of hidden in a wedge. So he may have gotten in there. No sign yet that she's gravid or anything like that, but much more promising signs than were before. I'm going to throw him back in there with her at some point. I think we have a front moving in this weekend, so I'll probably toss him back in. So this week, my bulk freezer I had screwed up like 4 months ago or so, maybe 6 months now. But I unplugged it to defrost it because the seal doesn't quite sit at the top. It ices over to the point you can't even open it. So it got really bad. I had to defrost it. I unplugged it. I forgot I unplugged it. Left it for days. Everything went bad. I lost thousands of dollars in feeders. So I had reloaded up and I had everything in my main freezer upstairs. And then I just lost my fridge and freezer this past week and lost all my feeders again. So right now I have no fridge. I am hoping to get one this weekend. It's just one of those things where it's always something and I have so much going on. But yeah, so I lost another like $1,300 worth of feeders, I would estimate. Well, $1,300 when I bought them. Right now the value is probably higher with everything being up so high. But I didn't go through and count how many, but hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feeders. And on top of the fact that it sucks from a financial standpoint and it sucks to lose all your feeders for your animals, I just feel guilty that like all those animals, essentially their lives were wasted. So that sucks. But I'm hoping to get my hands on some feeders this week, and then I'm going to have to put in an order probably from Rodent Pro. I can get rats and mice from a local supplier, but I like to feed a variety, so I'll probably order a bunch of chicks and quail and things of that nature from Rodent Pro, so that way I can go back to feeding a variety of stuff. I just have to be careful right now because my car is still in the shop. Still don't know what's wrong with it. Still hasn't been looked at. It's been over at the shop for 10 days now. I imagine it's going to be expensive to fix, so that's hanging over my head. Obviously, losing the refrigerator and the freezer and the feeders. And then I did purchase a snake recently that will be coming in this week. So I've put a lot of money out and have a lot of money hanging out there that I essentially don't really have. But such is life. Stuff happens. You got to kind of roll with the punches. So we're gonna figure it out, but it's just been one thing after another for like the past 2.5 years, pretty much steady. It's just been bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. It was a similar situation 2 years ago. Couldn't find feeders locally. Ordered online and got lucky. It was here in 3 days. I feel your pain. Could you even tell if she was gravid with how big she is? The big girl, yeah. You know, I remember when she ovulated with the T positive Batik, that clutch. Where I remember taking the video and saying, I think she's ovulating, but I'm not really sure. It kind of looks like it. But right now I have her pretty slender, so I think it would show. But it all depends. Every animal in a given year swells different. I have pictures of Incognito with 2 different ovulations, and one of them, I mean, she literally looks like the textbook swallowed a football, and then the other one, she's just a little bit thick through there and kind of rigid. So it's funny how they can be very different even within the same animal just based on different season, let alone over the course of different animals. And are you catching the ovulation at its height? Are you catching it just as it starts, just as it ends? So there's a lot of things that factor in. So typically I like to use behavior more than anything. Electra's not being super food responsive, and she is my most food responsive animal, hands down. So that alone tells me that I'm on the right path with her. So once she sheds, we'll get her all squared away. We'll set her up with some nesting material and go from there. Um, her shed cycle doesn't really coincide with the ovulation that I saw. Um, so I don't know. We're gonna wing it and see what happens. But I'm gonna treat her like she's gravid until I know she's not. But at this point right now, if anything, it looks like I should see 3 clutches out of the Borneo girls. You know, knock on wood, as long as everything goes right. Um, so that'll be cool because they're all sired by 3 different males, all sideswipe males. So I'll have a lot of sideswipe stuff this season, but nothing sideswipe from Callisto will be available at all. That's a sideswipe to sideswipe clutch, so anything that comes out sideswipe has to be held back and bred in the future as we try to figure out that gene a little bit more. And then if I get some dark stuff out of the skunk girl, I'm definitely going to want to hold some of that back. And then Electra throws incredible babies, so it's going to be a season where I hope I'm not financially fucked because I want to keep a lot of stuff back. You know, especially to replace some of the stuff I lost when I was sick. And, you know, I've had to let a few holdbacks go to kind of get by. So I'd like to hopefully be in a position to pay off some debt and replenish that stuff. Crap, that was one of my hopes for this season. What was one of your hopes for this season? I was thinking Electra was your one, but I'm not sure. But if you're talking about Callisto, the non-sideswipe stuff from Callisto will be sold unless there's something super nice that I have to keep. But the sideswipe stuff is pivotal that I keep in order to kind of prove the absence of or presence of whatever else might be going on. Yeah, so we'll see if my instincts are right. Electra will lay first. The skunk and Callisto are very close together. So the skunk ovulation I caught a little bit before Callisto's by like a day or two. It being that close, I could go either way. So I think at that point we'll see where their shed cycles go and then how their behavior goes and first to the finish. Got an awesome ultra bright blood from Rich Crowley. I can't believe the color changes it's gone through. What would you pair an ultra bright blood with? Well, first of all, it's an ultra bright Borneo, not a blood. So the Borneo short-tailed pythons are different from your blood pythons. As far as what I would do with an ultra bright, it really depends on what your goals are with a project. So you kind of have to decide what you want to create and then what you're going to plug in there that's going to get you to what you want to create, and then understand that it's Borneos and it's not going to work the way that you want it to most of the time. You're going to get thrown for a loop here and there. For me, you know, for ultra stuff, there's a lot of ultra floating around in my sideswipe stuff. And I always thought like an ultra sideswipe would be cool, but it seems like any time that I really get a good solid mix of those two things, they basically compete visually on the animal, and they don't get the look that I envisioned in my head, which is, you know, the super clean side striping with, you know, the ultra bright colors and looks. Ultra seems to really mess with the pattern and then kind of throw a mix in there to where I'll show you a Borneo. You here, right? What's up, player? Come on. Come on. Just so happens to be one of my favorite Borneos I've ever produced. But this is a guy that I'm waiting to breed and see what happens. But this is a guy I believe where Ultra and Sideswipe is competing. And I believe that's what's happening here. And that's why you see like the side pattern almost wanted to go into that Sideswipe type thing, but didn't quite make it. And same thing on the other side. You can see where it was kind of like that, where he's almost like a lower expression Sideswipe. But I think that the Ultra is what's really getting kind of crazy with the tail pattern here and then breaking this up on the sides. And so we won't know until we breed them, and we might even not know after we breed them because Borneos are just a little bit different than some of the other stuff as far as figuring that stuff out. But he is just a really, really cool dude, a dude that I really, really like. his silvers kind of don't look silver on the camera, but they're right through there. That whole strip right there where my middle finger is real silver in person. And then this is pretty vibrant yellow, not quite highlighter. And then he gets really white down here and really like creamy. And then he's got that whole solid dorsal striping. So just a really cool looking dude. You know, I've seen Sideswipe and Ultra both kind of mess with the neck pattern, so it's not really concise as far as which is really messing with that, or is it both together. So we'll only know once we breed him, and hopefully I'll have him in a position. I don't think he'll be ready the end of this season, but possibly next. You know, we'll all see how he grows and develops and when he's ready. You know, they mature when they mature, but just a Borneo I like a lot. Huh. What are you doing? Can't touch my nose. But he's just a really chill, really cool dude, really cool looking. So regardless of what he throws, I'll be very, very happy if I get anything out of him, because I just really like him a lot. But I see a lot of similarities with his neck to Orion, who's a Sideswipe, and even with Atlas, who's his brother from a different clutch, but brothers nonetheless. And they're not 100% brothers because they do have different fathers. But yeah, so I see a lot of the Sideswipe qualities here just without that totally clean stripe. But I do think that that's the Ultra in this line trying to kind of break through. No, I'm sorry. That rack sucks. Hi, bud. You look a little dirty. I just cleaned you, too. You guys haven't seen this fella in a while. Slowly growing. This is the T-positive ivory. Still a little bit of a nervous Nelly. Still better than his sister, though. His sister and I actually had the best interaction we've had in about a year and a half yesterday. She only kind of mock striked once. See what I'm talking about going up when they don't know what to do. He's always been a nervous animal, so has she. She's just a little bit worse and more apt to bite. She would not tolerate this right now at all. She would be striking. But I was able to move her to clean and just got the one kind of bluff strike when she was in the tub. She kind of hit the side with her body just to be like, fuck you, you know. I'm still tough. But since I moved her into the tub and kind of spent a little more time with her, not handling, but just opening the tub when I'm in here, talking to her, chilling out with her, she seems to be getting a little bit better. So hopefully we'll have some progress, and one day you guys will be able to check her out without me bleeding. He looks like he's got a poop brewing. You look like you got a poop brewing. All right, go. I gotta put my foot down here, make sure it doesn't slide. But yeah, so he's doing well. Much more confident eater now too. He used to be fairly shy. He would always eat, but you know, he didn't even want to take food off tongs for a long time, and now he does once in a while. Birds he'll take off tongs pretty much every time, but rats, maybe 1 in every 4 he's fed, he'll do it. Snake. He is handsome. Yeah, I think you were talking about the Borneo previously, but absolutely I agree. Of course, I put on Instagram, asked people what they wanted to see for snakes in a live feed, and as of going live, nobody had answered, so I didn't have any that I had to specifically pull out. But let's see what we got in this rack over here. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, you know what? Are you in shed or anything? No. You had your bad shed. Talk to somebody who cares, Orion. So I was talking before about Orion, and Orion is that Borneo's father. And I was talking about the qualities on the neck. You can see a lot of the similar neck striping. Can you go that way, please? I'm trying to show him your neck. So you can see a lot of the similarities. Obviously, he had a bad shed, but obviously he has, you know, much cleaner sides. But you can see where, you know, that kind of similarity, how much he's basically a clone of him other than the sides not being clean. So that's where I think like the Ultra was getting in there and really trying to kind of manipulate the pattern more. As you can see, other than that, They're pretty similar looking snakes. Orion doesn't really have quite the silver. It looks similar on camera, but it's not in person. So he's looks a lot like his dad, just different. So hopefully that's what that is, and it's just the Ultra kind of manipulating the pattern some. And then hopefully if I get it into another generation, you know, and outcross it into something else that's got some Ultra from a little bit different line, maybe we can make, you know, what I had in my mind from the outset of that project and putting those things together. Pull the big girl out. Oh, man, she's where is she? I think she's down here, so I have to take a few cages out of the way, but we could do that at the end. That's how we'll end the video. I don't think she's in shed or anything, so I think she should be amenable to pull out. I've been watching your stuff for a while. You have some nice stuff. Thank you very much. How about the non-breeding skunk girl? She is deep in shed. I had her on my story yesterday on Instagram. She might still be up there now. But yeah, she is very deep in shed down the bottom here, so I'm not going to pull her out tonight. Hi, Voodoo Queen. Thanks for pooping. Makes sense because she was definitely more edgy yesterday than usual, but Sumatrans, you'll notice when they have to poop, they're a little bit more on edge. Astra's been watching me since I've been in here. Astra's pretty edgy yesterday, and it's funny, somebody messaged me and was like, oh, I love, you know, how much she trusts you and crawls into your hand and all this, because she did on the video, but she didn't see prior to that video where she threw a little hissy fit and, you know, wanted to make sure that I was aware that I was an inconvenience to her day. Atlas we can grab. I don't think he is in shed at all or anything. Hi, bud. What's up? Come on. Yeah, it's me. Yeah, the annoying guy you hate. Ugh. So hopefully, if all goes well, Atlas is the daddy to what Callisto could be carrying. Once again, nice side swipe male. So he is related to that little guy that I had out before, where they have the same mother, and Atlas's father is the father to the other guy's father. So they're closely related, but not direct siblings, but basically about as close as you can get without being direct. Obviously, they're two males anyway, so it doesn't matter. They're not going to ever go together. But same thing, super clean side swiping. Hi, bud. How you doing? Just a pretty cool dude. A little bit smaller than Orion. He is a year younger, but still, they're at the age where, you know, he's a 2017, Orion's a 2016. You'd expect them both to be about the same size now, but Atlas is a little bit smaller. And Charlie Murphy, my other 2017 male that I had held back, is probably even smaller than Atlas. But he would be the dad to the skunk line clutch if she were to give me anything. What are you doing? Say hi to everybody. Once again, though, you can see that neck that I get with a lot of the side swipe stuff. That led me to believe that male is likely carrying the side swipe and just not visually showing it to the same level. Here. Do your thing, daddy boy. Let's see who else is out and about. Some shed. What's up, you miserable fuck? Are you gonna come out and be nice? Come on, people like you. Somebody somewhere likes you. So you have to come out and be nice. Hoping this guy will be a dad this year. If we can get that Matrix Het T positive to go, this will be the daddy T positive Batik here. He marches to kind of his own beat. A little bit of a weird guy, but good snake. Very nice red. It gets washed out on the video, obviously, but I think even still he's going to look nice and red to you. But he is nicer in person, especially through this area here. I know, I'm sorry. That area there is very red. and just saturated in all sorts of reds and pinks and reds on top of reds. So hopefully we can get some little babies out of him. And he's very weird because he will do this all the time, where he like wraps up and holds on, which is very different from a lot of my bloods that literally will just kind of hang. He's one that I think could climb trees because he's very, very adept at grabbing on and coiling around things and kind of acting more like you would expect from like a Burmese python. So it's kind of interesting. And his sister can kind of be the same way. So it's funny how that happens. When we pull out the big T positive, she's the mother to this guy. He is much, much smaller than she is. He was hatched in 2018, so he's a little bit younger than Atlas, but probably the same size or even a little bit larger. But his sister's small, so his sister's about the same size he is. And, you know, obviously I feed her a little bit more being a female, but, you know, they all have their own predetermined growth rate and they do what they do. You just gotta roll with the punches there. But very, very cool animal. And one obviously I hope to hatch some babies from. That was produced in a joint project with Dylan Hain. His male Batik het T positive from cherry bomb lineage to my big T positive female who was produced by the blood cell. So there's some quality lineage in that particular baby right there, going back for generations on both sides. And the cool thing is that Batik line is not the original imported Batik line, so it's a little bit different. It was another later import that started from a little bit redder base than the original line. If you guys remember, I mean, they were very cool when VPI was first producing the Batik gene, but I think a lot of you remember them being very, very brown snakes in the beginning because of where the foundation came from. This one started, you know, his father and the father that created him started from a little bit redder line. So it's nice, and all I'm trying to do is inject more and more red in there, more and more color, more and more quality, so we'll keep it going. Don't forget, if you haven't yet, to hit that like button, please. I was going to say we should not bring out any more bloods for the night. I know Justin doesn't like them. Yeah, Justin doesn't. Justin is a big Borneo guy. Borneos are definitely his thing. I know what we could bring out for a surprise. If I can see him and not get bit in the face. Oh, you're in a bad position for me. Come on. Here's a snake you don't see often on my channel, the dreaded ball python. He is has been here for many, many years with me, but he's not technically my snake. And of course, being a ball python, he's got to wrap up. There you go, Justin. The thing you love even more than Borneos is ball pythons. Although I'll admit, I'm not a ball python person. At least this one's not ugly. Are you gonna bite me, you little fucker? But yeah, so he's pastel, spider, and specter. I believe they're called a specter bee. I don't fucking know. But he's all right. He eats frozen thawed, so he's allowed to live here for a little while. You know, but a little while has been, I don't know, like 6 years now or something crazy. He's been here for a while, maybe 5. But, you know, he does his thing, eats his rats. And I had to laugh. One night I was going away on a trip, and I had to come in my snake room at like 3 o'clock in the morning and blitz clean everything before I left, because I was going to be gone for a week, and I wanted everything clean the moment I left and good with water or whatever. So typically what I do when I travel is go in and give everybody water and everything, make sure it's all full like 2 days before. So they can get a good drink, and that way if they do spill it, I'm doing it again before I leave, a better shot of just no issues. So I blitzed the whole collection, dealing with the water pythons at night, the olive pythons at night, the white lips, all the things that you would expect to be high strung after dark. And this is the one MFer that took a shot at me that night. None of the short tails, none of the other stuff. This guy, I opened his cage and he came wailing out. Just decided that it was feeding time and did not want to take no for an answer. And of course, you get all those people that tell you about pythons won't eat frozen thawed, which is a crock of shit, because I've owned a lot of them, and they all eat frozen thawed if you take the time to figure out what their trigger is and get them on a feeding routine, and then they're good. Really, bud? Really? 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 Are you going to do something? I mean, I don't spend any time handling this snake, really, but he's still fine. But he's definitely a ball python where you touch him, you know. That's his defense. Get up in there, do your thing. But he loves that rack probably as much as any snake in here. Since the day he went into it, he's just been a pig in shit. So he definitely likes not being seen and likes living that life. I think a lot of my short tails would ideally like to see a little bit more around them. They don't hate it in there per se, but I do find that once they move into their adult enclosures, I do see them looking around a lot more and things like that. So if I was going to invest again in something, I wouldn't get the grayed out tubs for them. And at least get the ones that have the window in the front so they have the option to come forward and kind of see what's going on around them. Because they're nosy snakes. If you spend enough time around short-tail pythons, yes, they're secretive. Yes, they like to hide. Yes, they like to feel that you can't see them, but they like to pay attention to what you're doing. And they like to watch you. This one's always watching me. Raiden is always right here. Lilith is usually right here. She's a little bit back right now, but that's because when I came in here earlier, I caught her off guard and she whacked the side looking for food. She gets a little excited. And so once she did that, she realized I didn't have food. She said, to hell with you. But yeah, Astra, always watching. Voodoo Queen, always watching. They're always paying attention. Electra's in shed right now, so she's not. Otherwise, she always checks out what I'm doing when I come in here. Big Red is often front and center, checking out what I'm doing. Sambuca's nosy, but food responsive. So it's always, do you have food? No, you don't. No, I don't care. And then she'll move on. Callisto, not so much. Morticia, not so much. Although Morticia's always paying attention. If you open her tub, she's always kind of paying attention to where you've been. But she doesn't necessarily move herself to see what you're doing. Oh man, amazing ball python. I'll never understand how people can be disgusted by snakes. Reptiles are truly living or yeah, so like I am terrified of a spider. Not spider ball, I'm reading that at the same time, but I'm terrified of spiders. But if you show me a picture of a nice cobalt blue, like that's a pretty spider, even though they are mean MFers and terrify me. Especially because they can teleport and they will willingly teleport to attack your entire family, basically. It's not true. But they are scary fucking spiders. But that's a beautiful blue animal. And so how you can look at that animal and not see the beauty, even if it scares you, doesn't make sense to me. You know, I don't understand that. And if you're a man, what are you thinking? Because, you know, women are beautiful, but they are fucking scary. That's a fact. So get over the fear. That's what we have to do. Spiders are awesome. Get you some. I will never, ever own a spider. That'll be the day you will not see. I have like crippling fear. I can't breathe. Like it's no bueno. That is not for me. I appreciate people that are passionate about them. I would never kill a spider that's outside ever. I've had one living in my mailbox, and I just get my mail with pliers and long objects because I won't reach in there. But I'm not going to kill it. It's outside. That's where it's supposed to be. And so I deal with it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have a reign of terror over me where I am literally cringing at the thought of getting my mail. Let's see, is there anybody else we can pull out that's exciting? I guess this wouldn't be a live stream of my snake room without some kind of Sumatran love. Why are you guys all always dirty? Like, I come in here, I clean, and you're just dirty again. Every day of my life. It's like a fucking curse. You all hate me or what? What are you doing? I'm talking to you. So, got to show off some level of Sumatran love. Obviously, very important. So we got this girl here. Sumatrans tend to stay a little bit smaller than the other short-tailed species. They can get a good size. Sambuca is a good size. Incognito is decent size, but I don't have any females right now other than Sambuca that rival Incognito in size. These guys are all a little bit smaller. Obviously, this isn't an adult female, but just in general, you know, Morticia, Voodoo Queen, Amina, all those girls are not really that huge, but they have the age on them. What are you looking at? But obviously Sumatrans are one of my passions. I think they're amazing, amazing snakes. I think they make great pets. They're very inquisitive, very personable, very easy to handle, very just amenable to things. They're hardy. As long as you keep them clean, keep them ventilated, and stay the fuck out of their way when it's feeding time, you're good to go. You get in the way of a Sumatran feeding, you are taking a whack. I bet you do, Jen, and you keep those over there. That end of the state. Well, we're kind of on the same end of the state essentially, but still, whatever. Yeah, no, spiders are definitely my fear that I don't think I will ever get over. You know, like obviously Rob loves spiders. I spent a lot of time with him. I'm happy he's passionate for them. But it's not my thing. And there's a lot of people that send me friend requests and their profile picture spiders, and I'm like, I can't accept that because now I know what's coming. It's gonna be more and more spiders on my feed. So I have a lot of people pending right now. So if you're trying to be my friend, your profile picture is a spider, all you gotta do is change it, and then maybe you're in. Maybe. We'll have to see. What do you think? Can we do can I get you to track me and shake your head no? No, that's Sumatrans. They don't fucking give a fuck. Once they're comfortable, there's no thwarting their attention or anything. They're just like, whatever, I'm doing my thing. It really is quite annoying to look in here and see all these cages that I cleaned yesterday that are mostly dirty again. I would say at least 50% of the cages that I did yesterday are dirty. That's why it's never ending. That's why we don't do a cleaning day, because every day is cleaning day. It's just nonstop. It's poop and poop and poop and poop and poop. Well, it's poop and poop and piss and piss and piss and piss and piss. Yeah, you wait for me. I'm gonna be right there. I'm coming right now to hold spiders. Just because you see me on the live stream, this is pre-recorded. I'm actually on the way. So stay up. Wait up. Don't fall asleep. All right, Justin, we promised this girl. I can't wait to figure out a more permanent solution for her either, because she needs to get the hell out of this tub. At least I am in the right order, right? Hi, Lil. Oh, you got a little urate in there too, huh? Thanks. A little room to work with here. Oh, you smell terrible. Can you fucking pee in here? Oh, that's interesting. I know. You're good. Could you help out a little bit? Like, fucking Christ, lady. Alright, she's gross. Very, very piss-like. So, that's the big girl there. I'm going to put her back, though, because she's feeling a little firm. And just in case, I don't want to mess with her too much. That could be a sign that he actually did get in there. So we're going to keep an eye on her and see what the hell's going on. But I'm gonna clean her after this video, so I am gonna have to touch her again. But yeah, no, she feels a little bit firm back there, so she could be further along than I thought. They could have gotten it done earlier on, so we'll keep an eye on her. She also was not very food responsive when I came in there. She did eat the last time I offered. I don't know. I feel like I didn't write down my feedings the last time I fed. Yeah, no, I don't think I did. Because I have her written down on 215, but I'm pretty confident she ate after that. Around like the 24th, 25th. Because I started messing with the Husbandry Pro and it's not set up. I stopped writing down in the cards. I'm like, fuck it, I'll start when I finish that. But I'm pretty sure I fed her again there. But obviously, losing my feeders and everything, I know she hasn't eaten within the past week and change. So pretty. That feels much better than anything that I've seen so far. So we'll see. Not a definite. She's not rock hard, but she could be moving towards something. So we'll clean her up when I finish this video. I'm super terrified of rats, and it makes no sense. I started forcing myself to touch feeder rats, but I don't think I'd ever hold a live one. See, I love rats. Rats are probably one of my favorite animals, and it's probably my least favorite part of keeping snakes is, the fact that I have to dispatch rats from time to time. Find somebody that has a pet rat if you have somebody near you, because they make amazing pets. They're very personable. They're very smart. They're very clean animals. I know everybody has this image of like New York City rats and all this stuff. But by nature, they're very clean animals. They like to have their area clean and whatever else. And they show a lot of really interesting behaviors, especially when you get a good relationship with one where, you can sit there and eat your food and they won't touch your food until you give it to them. And like, they're just cool animals. So I love rats, but I understand a fear is a fear. How's Ryan Mom, the one that has the head issues? She just had another bad shed, as she always does. She will basically like shed off her eye caps and face, and then she just quits pretty much every time. And so her belly will eventually shed itself off because she just moves around and it sheds. And then the rest I have to do every time for the last 3 years. So nothing has changed with that. She still quit on her shed. She's got a little bit more weight on her. And her head looks the same like shit. So not much there. I've thrown a variety of foods at her, everything in the book that I can do from a nutritional standpoint and varying her diet. Sometimes I'll give her a rat and a big quail the same night just to get her some variety in there. But yeah, nothing has really changed with her. Although I'm really beginning to settle on the fact that she's a lot older than what I was told. Because just in handling her and the way she moves, she's just starting to feel like a geriatric snake to me. That she's very old. She's starting to look older. Her movements are very like kind of methodical and deliberate, unless she's really, really upset or really, really targeted on something. Even for food, she's kind of half-assed taking it. She takes a while to eat, where like she'll contort herself and whatever. So I'm definitely leaning towards that's the issue there. Now, if I were to go on what they told me her age was, and then what she is now, knowing that, so she had that clutch in 2016, 2015, So according to what they had said, she'd probably be 14 years old, but I think they were off on her, and I think she's older. And I don't, like I said, I don't think it was intentional at all. I just think that they weren't remembering properly, because supposedly she was 6 when I got her, and she was a monster in size when I got her. And then now I've had her like 7-ish years and change, so I would say if I were to base it on them, she's 14, but I bet you she's well into her 20s, to be honest. Especially based on how she looks now, and I think that's part of the problem. I think her body is just not young anymore, basically. So I just continue to keep an eye on her. Like I said, she has put on a little bit of weight. I've been throwing food at her a little bit more often. She takes food every time I offer it, no question there. So as long as she's doing that, and as long as she appears to be doing what she needs to do, then we'll keep on trucking and see how things go. But I do wish there was a way to know exactly how old she is, because I think age is the main factor. And I mean, 14 is not exactly like spring chicken status, but it's also not that old for short tails. I have short tails that are older than that breeding. So Lilith is 11. Trying to think. I don't know how old Electra is. I don't think Electra's that old. Sambuca right now is probably the oldest short tail in here that I know a confirmed age on. And I don't know exactly, but she either hatched in 04 or 05. I don't remember which one. But that puts her at, 17 or 18 respectively this season, this summer. And she's still trucking pretty well. Obviously, I didn't breed her this season. I may next year one last time. It really, really hinges on how I feel she's doing when the time comes. Health-wise, right now, she's healthy. She's a pain in the ass with food sometimes, where she loves to take it, drop it. I have to give it to her again. She'll drop it, and she'll take it and eat it. Other times, she just takes it and eats it. But health-wise, she looks great. She could use a little bit of weight right now, but we have, where are we now? March. We have about 7 to 8 months before I would even think about pairing her anyhow. So, I mean, she's got plenty of time to pack on the pound and a half maybe that I would want on her before we would pair her. But yeah, so she's the geriatric as far as what we know age-wise, but Big Red, I think, is considerably older just based on everything that I can figure out. Because even the hormonal imbalances and things that I looked into and thought maybe it could be, just doesn't make sense for some of the behaviors and some of the things that she's doing. Whereas age makes sense. So we'll see what happens there and what I figure out. A bunch of other T's and single pairs doesn't. That's a lot of things. So I thought I had 2.1. So what happened? Did one get out? Did one eat another? Were they not sexed right? What went on there? There's a spider loose. We need to call somebody. I'm sure they are. They're really smart, but I just tense up around them. That's totally nonsensical for me to feel this way, but it's involuntary. Yeah, I understand that too. It's probably that I grew up in New York, so I've seen some really scary looking ones in the subway. Yeah, those are different. Those are like master shredder line. Like, you gotta watch out for those MFers. But yeah, most of the rats we have in captivity are Norway rats. Are pretty laid back. I've worked with them for many, many years, and drama mislabeled on purpose. That sounds like fun. Well, at least most of the time people aren't mislabeling short tails on purpose. They're just pain in the ass to sex, and people get it wrong. Kind of expect once in a while that you're going to get one missexed, and just kind of the way she goes. It's happened at least a couple times to me now that I can think of, and then obviously I have one snake that I made a mistake on that was a holdback. That I know of. I haven't, knock on wood, heard any mistakes from customers, but you have to assume that there's at least one out there. Just kind of the way she goes with these animals, with the females and males basically looking so similar. Of course, that had to be the species that I really decided to get into heavy. It always blows my mind. You see a lot of people like, oh, I got a missexed ball python, and it's like, how? Those are so clear. But short tails are much, much, much tougher. And outside of stuff that you can't sex until it's older, I don't know if there's a harder species to determine sex on than these guys, as far as ones that you can easily pop and look at visually. All right, any more questions before we wrap this up? Because we are an hour and 25 minutes in. Don't forget, if anybody would like to help our fellow keeper, to reach out to me via private message on Instagram or Facebook, and I will give you my PayPal address. Friends and family only, obviously, since it's a donation to somebody, and then I will forward everybody's together to him. I already have a decent amount that some of these people I reached out to privately have offered. And like I said, I'm going to add some myself as well. Hopefully we can send them at least a few $100s and give them a little break. So TikTok, MFers. This is your last chance to make a comment, last chance to hit that like button. Don't forget also, after the video is posted, it always helps with the algorithm if you go back and make a comment later. So feel free to pop back in if you missed anything that you want to check out. We didn't cover a lot of groundbreaking stuff tonight, but I've been busy and had all this other shit going on, so I wanted to get something going on the channel and kind of keep you guys invested in that, and then hopefully get this car situation squared away and get some stuff squared away, and then we can start doing some videos when these girls start giving me something. And there you go, Adam. Better late than never. Did you do it though? Did you do it? But yeah, and then hopefully I can start traveling a little more. I got to get back out to Dylan's at some point, so I'm sure I'll strong arm him into doing a few videos of some sort. And I got to get up and see Mr. Jason again. Everybody's having babies. Jason had a baby, Dylan had a baby, Justin had a baby, Bob had a baby. It's a boy. You know, it's getting a little crazy. So babies everywhere. But yeah, so Jason, I got to get back up there at some point once, you know, his life settles out from having a little one. Thank you, Sean. Much appreciated. But yeah, I think that's about it right now. Bring it into mantids and only have one. Oh, you guys are talking bugs now. I'm out on that one. Nope. Although probably more terrifying than spiders is centipedes. Centipedes are legit scary. Those things, they have to be some kind of like creature sent here to punish us. I can't think of any other scenario there, because they're terrifying. Millipedes, no. Millipedes are cool. A lot of legs, a little weird, but cool. Centipedes, fuckers are evil. Yeah, no fast, no spicy, no bitey. I like I'm fat and slow. I would be an easy victim. No bueno. All right, the chins and I is out. Yeah, centipedes, no fucking bueno. Those things just literally looking for a chance to just murder your whole family, your entire bloodline, your friends, your other animals. They're gonna burn your house down. I don't know. They're just too crazy for me. Yeah, no, it's all good. By all means, talk about whatever you want in there. I don't mind. I'm just giving you a hard time. But I know very, very little about that kind of stuff. Like if you start throwing out scientific names of spiders, I don't have a clue. I know I'm a fucking outis. That's it. But yeah. So you guys can talk about whatever you want in the comments. Doesn't bother me any. Feel free. Every comment just helps the algorithm, so I'm for it. There's a spider on the wall behind you. It's quite possible. But, you know, I can see the wall, so you're not going to, like, scare me and, you know, get that to happen. Yeah, I keep my house pretty clean on account of that. I don't want spiders in here. So I try to do everything I can to deter them from wanting to come into my property, clean the leaves up around the house, try to make sure nothing's hanging over the house branch-wise, you know, whatever else. I live in the woods, so it does happen, but knock on wood, I tend to see very, very few and far between in my house, because I keep up on top of it. So we'll see you guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate the love, and those of you that want to PM me on helping him out, do so, and I will get with you shortly, and we will see you guys soon. They are a whole other beast. On that note,